Are you looking for the best photo scanners? In this video we will look at some of the 5 best scanners on the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description, so make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Starting at number 1. Epson Fast Photo Wireless High-Speed Photo and Document Scanning System. If you've got a large stack of old family photos you'd love to convert to digital files, you'll want a scanner that can do them all quickly. Kern recommends Epson's Fast Photo FF680W, a standing scanner that can scan at a speed of 80 pages per minute, or can be bulk-fed 4-inch by 6-inch prints that will be scanned in 2 seconds per photo, but only in landscape orientation. This scanner has settings for auto enhancement, color restoration, and red eye reduction, as well as cropping and rotating. Scanners that have these capabilities can work fairly well, Kern says, but it's better to manually touch them up using photo editing software when possible. He does warn that, when dealing with old prints, you should be careful with how many photos you feed it at a time because the scanner can get jammed and harm the photos. The Fast Photo supports operating systems as old as Mac OS X 10.5 and Windows 7 and goes all the way up to the latest versions of both systems, so unless you're running super old gear, or you never hit that update button, you should be covered. It also has an auto-upload feature for Dropbox and Google Drive, so you can send your photos straight to the cloud without having to touch your computer. At number 2. Plustek ePhoto Z300. If you're fine with a flatbed scanner that'll take up more space on your desk and require more hands-on time scanning individual photos, Kern recommends Epson's Perfection V600 flatbed scanner. It's hard to find in stock at times, but its low price and support for higher resolution photos up to 6400 dpi for enlargements up to 17 inches by 22 inches. That's a big jump from the other scanners, but it comes at the expense of your time. It's able to scan a couple photos at a time by placing them all on the scanner's surface, but even then, it'll take some time when you're dealing with larger volumes of photos. Depending on the size of your photos, you can place a few photos on the scanner at a time and it'll save each one as its own file. You can scan photos up to 8 by 11, though those larger photos will scan at a lower resolution than you can get on other scanners. There are automatic crop and rotate options as well, so you won't have to worry about doing that yourself after scanning a bunch of photos. Its support for Macs is slightly behind Epson's, though only by a couple versions of smaller and older updates. Unless you're on a particularly old Mac, that shouldn't be an issue. At number 3. Epson Perfection V600 Color Scanner. If you're fine with a flatbed scanner that'll take up more space on your desk and require more hands-on time scanning individual photos, Kern recommends Epson's Perfection V600 flatbed scanner. It's hard to find in stock at times, but its low price and support for higher resolution photos up to 6400 dpq for enlargements up to 17 by 22 inches. That's a big jump from the other scanners, but it comes at the expense of your time. Kern says it's able to scan a couple photos at a time by placing them all on the scanner's surface, but even then, it'll take some time when you're dealing with larger volumes of photos. Depending on the size of your photos, you can place a few photos on the scanner at a time and it'll save each one as its own file. Strategist senior editor Winnie Yon used the V600 for many years to scan 35mm and medium format film. She likes that it comes with plastic frames to hold the negatives in place but finds they could be a little finicky to work with. The other thing that's tricky about scanning your own negatives is that you have to be really careful about dust management, she says. Ultimately, I found having to use gloves and hunt down lint and dust to not be worth the savings from scanning them myself. She prefers to get her film scanned by the photo lab, which is true for many amateur and professional film photographers we spoke to. At number 4. Epson Perfection V39 Scanner. If you can't find the Perfection V600 in stock, or you're fine with a lower resolution scan and want to spend less, we recommend the Epson Perfection V39 Color. Its scanning resolution is significantly higher than that of the upright scanners we recommend, but lower than the V600's, and it's still a great resolution for restored photos. The V39 is also able to scan multiple photos at a time, as many as you can fit on the scanner, and it'll make a separate file for each one. Like the Fast Photo FF680W, it supports cloud uploading to Microsoft OneDrive and Dropbox, so you can automate the process a bit if you like storing things in the cloud. Its software support isn't as current as that of other scanners, according to Epson's website, though several reviewers on Amazon have said their scanners work fine with Windows 10. At number 5. Epson Perfection V850 Pro Scanner. Photographer Ben McMaster calls the Epson V850 a very capable scanner for film photographers covering 35mm to 4x5. He says that it even works well enough for 35mm film, though the details may not be as crisp. Still, he notes that it's better than most flatbed scanners for 35mm slides and strips. Unlike the other scanners we recommend, this Epson's compatibility goes all the way back to Windows XP, though those computers may struggle more with large processing jobs. Unlike many consumer-grade scanners, the V850 also has a notably higher optical density, which is a measurement of the contrast levels a scanner can pick up on a spectrum of white to black. It's measured from a range of 0 to 4.0, though many consumer-level scanners top out somewhere between 2.0 and 3.0. Scanners with lower optical density struggle to pick up darker black tones, while the V850's optical density of 4.0 picks up as close to all the tones as possible. In comparison, the V600 has an optical density of 3.4. You can make up for some of the difference by tweaking the contrast of photos in a photo editor after the scan, but that's going to degrade the details of the image. The V850 is significantly pricier than the other scanners on this list, but that higher price pays for Epson's dual-lens system. Unlike a single-lens scanner, the V850 chooses between the two lenses based on your desired resolution. Since higher resolution photos result in larger files, scanning large stacks of photos quickly eats up disk space, so that lower resolution may come in handy depending on your storage limitations. Price says, however, that she's noticed the scanner doesn't do quite as well with smaller negatives, and though the difference is discernible, it's not terrible. She also says, and I noted when I looked at the V600, that its top piece is quite bulky with a raised surface, unlike the flat surfaces of other scanners.